This is Cruise Control. Your on-air automotive magazine with co-hosts Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Everything you need to know about new and used cars. Industry news will fix or repair your car on the air. Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin. Because you're on Cruise Control. Cruise Control. Cruise Control.
And we are rolling. Welcome, everyone, to Cruise Control. This is your on-air automotive magazine, and we are here to really cover a lot of information this week. And we're going to get started right away. I, of course, am Les Jackson, and he, of course, is Fred Staab. You know us. And Fred, what do you think? How are things in the automotive world as opposed to the rest of the world?
Well, it's kind of a mixed bag, actually. We've got a lot of new pricing information. We got a lot of new refreshed vehicles, but we also have our lead story is talking about the F-150 Lightning, and sales may be faltering on that, and they're actually cutting back on production. So we'll kick that one around, won't we, Les?
We will, and I was talking with the Ford people at our annual Washington Auto Press rally last week, and Nissan gets the Rogue refreshed. I've always liked the Rogue.
Yeah, it's a good driving vehicle, yes.
Yeah.
They put a nice refresh on that. That will be interesting to talk about, right? And
absolutely.
And then we're going to also talk about, will there be an electric MX-5 Miata? I always found it funny how they call the MX-5 certain places and Miata other places. But what do you think? It might be a good vehicle choice for electric vehicles.
I would think it would make a really cool sports car. So, and meanwhile, Kia prices out its EV6 GT.
That is.
It's always, you got a lot for your money with Kia.
Yeah, that is one fast customer, well over 500 horsepower when you spec it all the way up, and it is quite a machine. So we'll tell you about that. It's not going to be cheap, that's for sure.
Well, they're not.
Yeah, so we'll have that, and also we're going to talk about Jaguar. Actually, I was over in the UK, and I saw a bunch of F-types and other Jags sitting out on the street, but it's the end of the run for the F-type, so we'll tell you how they're going to celebrate, right?
That's right. And I'm currently starting writing the DC Auto Show, all the auto content for the program. And guess how many EVs, electric battery-powered vehicles, there are available in the country right now?
I'm going to say 50 different models.
You are exactly right, sir.
My.
50. You are exactly right. But that's a huge number.
Yeah, that's a huge number, and it's only going to grow. But we're also going to see a lot more hybrids, too. This week, Stellantis said they're going to bring out a hybrid pickup. Of course, F-150 is going to have one that will be upgraded. So it's all happening, isn't it?
It is. I've been counting those, too, and I ran out of fingers and toes. So I need to borrow the cat.
Yeah, there you go. All right, well, Les, we will be right back with more Cruise Control after this. Stay tuned.
Okay, you're in.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staab and Les Jackson here with you. And we're going to jump right into it, Les. Big news this week. It's news that Ford probably doesn't want to hear, and it looks like the union UAW is taking advantage of it too. But it looks like they will be cutting back on a factory shift of the F-150 Lightning at the Rouge Vehicle Assembly Center. And I guess both sides are trying to use it for traction, aren't they?
Well, they are. And the word is coming out that the schedule was reshifted because, take your pick of the reasons, but there's some internal memos from UAW officials that say they believe it's the sales have tanked, in their words.
That's a big word, tank.
Which that's a nasty word, and it kind of makes sense if you realize that Ford is going to introduce big price cuts for the current Lightning with $7,500 incentives. And you combine that with the $7,500 federal tax thing, you've got $15,000 off the sticker price. That's, man, time to buy a Lightning.
Yeah. Do you think people are just saying, I don't want to spend over $60,000 for a vehicle?
I think so.
People are just realizing, I just can't do it?
I think so. I think people are realizing I've got to go to 84-month car payments. I'm worried about, my future. Everything is it's kind of just in turmoil right now. But this is, electric vehicles are being ramped up by all of the automotive companies, and I don't know, maybe they're going a little bit too quickly.
Yeah, I thought that, and I thought about, we're going to have a little bit later on in the show, we're going to talk about Toyota maybe being ready to start mass production of solid-state batteries with potentially a 700-mile range down the line. And I wondered, are people realizing this? Like, I have a neighbor who wants to buy an electric vehicle, and I said I wouldn't buy an electric vehicle right now. I'd lease one, because the developments are just going to be fast, and it's going to be big changes,
Yeah, I'm getting emails from people and conversation from people. What should I do? I hear electric batteries are going to be much more advanced in 2 or 3 years. And I tell them, look, either lease one or buy something else. In the meantime, I would wait. If it were me, I wouldn't buy one right now.
Yeah. Interesting in this article from Yahoo Finance, and this comes from, I believe, an analyst, CFRA analyst Garrett Nelson. He said, we think Ford's announcement is emblematic of the difficulties traditional automakers have faced with ramping up EV production, but also reflects consumer demand for EVs that wasn't what once appeared to be in terms of robust reservation counts for certain new models. So people wanted to get on the bandwagon, but once they got on the bandwagon, they didn't particularly like how that felt.
Well, yeah, it's easy to kind of, it's not a fad, but it's really easy to get caught up by something, by a trend. And when you look into it, and I'm thinking in terms of yellow and orange carpeting in the late 60s.
Harvest Gold appliances.
Which was a great idea. It certainly seemed to be back then, and I think of it now thinking, what was I thinking of?
Earth shoes.
Earth shoes. Yeah.
So, Yeah, I think some people feel they've got to show they're with it and they've got to be
Yep.
the latest and greatest. But I think, I read an article that one company's talking about a 3,000-mile range battery. I truly believe we may find a time where we have a 100,000-mile battery, and that's it. When that you don't ever have to charge it
Yeah,
until
just
until
like our
maybe scrap the
smartphones.
car. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. Now that's wow. What a waste of materials.
Well,
Wow.
we're not going to waste any time because when we come back, we're going to tell you about some vehicles you can buy right now, including the Nissan Rogue. So stay tuned. We will be right back. Fred Staab and Les Jackson. You're on Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control. We promised, or Fred promised before the break, that we would be talking about the Nissan Rogue and the newly refreshed 2024 model. I actually drove that briefly at the WAPA Rally Auto Press. What I really have always liked about Rogues is that they're efficient. I
Yeah.
guess that's the word.
Yeah,
Um,
they also are very comfortable to drive.
yeah, they are. This is the third um,
Generation?
redo of the Rogue.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
2024 model. One of the big things it has, Les, we talked a little bit about this, is Google built in. So you don't have to connect your phone by Bluetooth. You don't have to pull up Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, although many of the systems have both. It's just there. It's there all the time, and Google Maps is your navigation system built right into the dashboard. I've seen this in GM
Yeah.
cars and Volvo cars, and it's a very what do people talk about in most of the different studies that we reveal about how they can't connect their phone, or it doesn't connect, or then they can't hear it, or then the navigation system messes up. This is designed to make it a lot easier.
And it automatically is updating. You don't have to pay for updates
Right, exactly.
like you do on a captive system. And you and I drive a lot of different vehicles, and some of the nav systems just drive you crazy
Yeah,
trying to tell it you want to go somewhere.
they sure do. They sure do. Now, of course, it's also been smoothed out on the outside, pretty slick looking. Um,
Hmm.
I think they've made it a lot more aerodynamic. It is available Rogue SL and Platinum. Elevate the level. It's funny, in all of these different releases, they talk about USB ports. So there's two front USB Type-C ports, standard on the Rogue S. And then they get more, two charge-only ports in the rear as you move up the different levels. They have become the new cup holders, haven't they?
They really have. It's amazing. And by the way, I'm one of the people that likes several USB ports. I don't know why, but whenever I'm on any kind of a trip, I need to plug in two or three things. But yeah, uh, you're driving kids around or other family members. Everybody wants to plug in.
Yep.
So on top of the multiple uh, cup holders, which have not gone away, you, you've got USB ports. What's next? I can't tell you.
Yeah. I don't know what the next big thing will be as far as that goes. They also have an available divide and hide system, which provides hidden storage, which is always good. For hidden and secure storage for small items below the trunk floor, while allowing owners to select a fully flat load floor or lower floor position for increased load hauling. So, or increased load height if you have something. Yeah. So overall, a nice refresh for the Nissan Rogue.
Yeah,
I think it may be one of their strongest vehicles as far as sales go. Do you know?
I don't know, but I think it probably is because it's been a big seller since they introduced them back in 2007 or 8. And everybody likes them.
Yeah, we don't have any
Just
pricing information on them or anything yet, but it will be forthcoming, right?
oh, don't worry, they'll tell you the price.
Yeah, yeah. There, good deal. You're listening to Cruise Control. You're on Air Automotive Magazine with Fred Staab and Les Jackson. We should talk about this, Les. One of the most popular cars, certainly with journalists. I've never been a huge fan of it because I find it too small, like I'm wearing it as opposed to driving it. But we're talking about the MX-5 Miata. And interesting article on Car Buzz. I believe this originally came from Automotive News as well. But, oh no, it's from Top Gear. Speaking with Top Gear, a senior Mazda representative has concluded or has conceded that the Japanese automaker is considering an electric MX-5 Miata. Now, if you're a Miata fan, what do you think about that? I think it could be a good vehicle to have electric powertrain, don't you?
I do. It would be very fast. Uh, faster than any other Miata has ever been.
Mm-hmm.
It would be probably handled better, even though it'd be heavier because super low center of gravity. And
Right.
like you, I mean, I like them, but I would never want to have one as a daily driver. It's just a little too small for me,
Yeah,
and
I
I'm
find.
not a big guy.
Yeah, we're about the same size, I think. So it's
Yeah, and I just I want I just want something a little larger, not much.
well, one of the
Uh,
big things too is that's always been a light car. If you add a battery pack to it, you know how
yeah.
much weight you when you put in batteries. Some of these vehicles are getting up to the trucks are getting up to 10,000 pounds. You don't want
Oh yeah.
a 7,000 pound Mazda Miata.
No, but I think it would end up being about over 3,000,
Wow.
which is like Corvette weight,
Well,
but
Corvette's much bigger. Yeah.
it's much bigger, much longer wheelbase. But uh, I think they would just have a really strong suspension system, bigger tires.
What if they made
Um,
it bigger to fit this? Would
well,
that turn off people?
I don't think so. As long as it looks like a Miata, if it's 6 inches bigger and 3 or 4 inches wider, why not?
The Miata XL, XLL.
The Miata Grande.
You've gotten bigger, so has the Miata.
That's right.
So, I've got
That's
the
perfect.
marketing line for you already.
You've
So
you've
yeah.
got you've got the yes, the Jeremy Carlson Clarkson.
You've
Yes,
gotten bigger, so we have
that's it.
too.
That's right. If you can't
XL.
fit into your current Mazda, we have a new one for you. The,
So
the other thing, the other thing that you notice is that at some point you really have to bend and contort to get into certain cars. That's the other thing about the Miata. If the top's not down, it's a bit of an effort to
yeah,
get into it.
yes, it is. It is, and as I say, it's also warm inside when you're on the
Oh
highway.
yeah,
So I'm sorry if I'm alienating Miata fans. I say knock yourself out. It's a fun car to like autocross
absolutely.
or take out on a track day, and you can get them pretty inexpensively. But for me, I would not want it as a full time regular car. But that's me. So hopefully the hate mail does not come in for that. But uh,
Yeah.
another interesting story here, Les. I think we got time for it before the break. There's a German hotel that allows you to pull your car. When you pull up, you drive onto an elevator, and it takes it up multiple floors, so you can park it right outside the window of your hotel room and walk in.
Wow.
And there's always that person that wants to watch their car all the time, so they always park it close if they're in a restaurant or something like that. Uh, I guess this is taking that to the next step, but we can talk about that
It's
more when we come back, I guess. So, good stuff
wow.
happening on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine with Fred Staub and Les Jackson. We will be right back. Stay tuned.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staab and Les Jackson taking you around the automotive world. We were just discussing this car loft hotel in Germany, and they let you bring your car up through an elevator and park it basically kind of out on the veranda outside your room. Interesting that this would be something they would offer. But I tell you what, if you have an expensive car and you want to look at it and you want to keep it safe, the weird part is you don't want to damage it putting it in the elevator.
Well, that's the likely thing. Somebody with a Duesenberg is going to squeeze it into the elevator and scratch it all up, and then complain to the hotel.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, if you couldn't drive it, you shouldn't have done that.
Right, exactly. Let's talk about this next story, and I want to get your take on it, Wes. China has a state-owned car company called Chery, Chery, right? They have plans to sell vehicles in the U.S. under that name. They have a SUV that sort of looks like a Toyota FJ, very upright, called the Jet Tour, and a number of others of similar ilk. They were talking with Motor Trend, and the Chery people said their intention is the U.S. market is important to us, and they want to get into it. What do you think?
Well, this is kind of I hate using the word double-edged sword, but the Buick Envision has been built there now for what, 5 years?
Yeah, I still don't think a lot of people realize that.
No, and it's a perfectly good Buick. It's very reliable and all that, but that's under GM's factory direction. I don't know, but I just think that their expertise on their own isn't that great yet. They're certainly starting to do well. And, the other problem with them is that they're in cooperation with Huawei, the electronics firm that has all kinds of restrictions.
Yeah,
between us and them.
Doesn't seem like the best start to an operation.
So, and then they're going to compete against a pretty established bunch of brands here, and yet they're going for high end. So, how are they going to compete? It seems to me the only way they really could compete is price. So, if it's $60,000 against $60,000, then I don't think anybody's interested.
No, why take the chance when you can go with an established brand?
Let somebody else take the chance.
Yeah. But what if they sell it for $15,000?
Then I'll look at it.
Yeah, but will they be charged with dumping? Just dumping.
Well, there is a tariff.
Yeah, I don't know. And would people buy it? Would people take the chance of buying it and then having...
And where is your dealer network?
Yeah, and it needs warranty work. What happens,
Exactly.
So let's talk about something a little bit more available, and that is the Kia EV6, and we've got pricing on it, all of the models here, actually. Let's talk a little bit about it. EV6, very popular vehicle for Kia, and it starts out, and this is the 2024 model. It's expected to go on sale in fall of 2023, so we're in fall right now. At least it feels like it.
Sure does.
These numbers don't include the $1,325 destination fee, which is the same for all models, but Starts with the EV6 Light rear-wheel drive, 42,600. The Light long range goes up to 45,950. The EV Light E all-wheel drive, 49,850. The Wind, which is, I think, the big model that is the volume model. Rear-wheel drive is
right,
48,700. And then the Wind E all-wheel drive, 52,600. And then we get into the GT, don't we?
Well, that's right. They start jumping up kind of quickly to 52,900 for just the base rear wheel GT line, as it's known, and the all-wheel drive version 57,600, and the GT, which I don't know what that distinction is, just GT, is 61,600.
Yeah.
So it jumped up almost $20,000 from the start.
I got the distinction. It's 576 horsepower.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll take it.
So
you should have told me that.
Yeah, and ranges, well, they're okay. The Light rear-wheel drive, 232. The long range is 310, which is the longest range of any of them. And that also includes the EV6 GT line rear-wheel drive, 310. And then the all-wheel drives, a number of them are 282. The EV6 GT line E all-wheel drive, 252. And the EV6 GT, 218 miles. And if you hit that loud pedal, Les Jackson,
right, the boost switch.
The boost switch, that is going to go down pretty quickly, right?
It's going to go down for sure. You really got to be careful if you've never experienced these things. It's like having a big dog that suddenly gets away from you and pulls the leash, and you're getting dragged.
I've had that happen.
Yes, and you got to be ready for it. It's these electrics will really put a scare in you before you can react.
They will. They will for sure. They will for sure. Hey, let's
They're
talk.
Fun, though.
Oh, they are fun. They are fun. We've been talking about this on Cruise Control for a while. There's a lot of discussion about the Tesla supercharger network being opened up to everyone. People, different manufacturers taking on the charging connector and standardizing to Tesla, moving away from the ChangeMo. Isn't that what it was? ChangeMo?
Right.
There has been a sighting of a Tesla V4 supercharger with Magic Dock and credit card reader, which means that people are getting ready to, or the network is getting ready to open up to a lot of different people. And you won't need to have a Tesla to use this, and therefore you will need a credit card reader.
That's right.
Let me see where this was cited. I don't know if we have this.
Yeah, I'm trying to check
it's a
right
Reddit,
now.
It's a Reddit user, but I'm not sure where this was cited. But it's certainly going to be expanding to the U.S. soon. So I asked some Tesla owners what do they think about that, and they, it was sort of like having an exclusive golf club, country club, and someone said like, well, anyone can stop by on, anytime they want, but you'll still pay the fee. So
yes, you have to buy your electricity.
Yeah. So there you have it. I don't know. Interesting story, and we will keep you up to date on all those developments. So coming up, we're going to talk a little bit about the Jaguar F-Type. I saw a lot of Jaguar F-Types when I was over in the UK, Les, and on a future show, I want to actually put together a little presentation for our audience that will show some of the cool cars. I will say this, there are a lot of Rolls-Royce Cullens everywhere parked on the street.
Wow.
Just like I always say, that's the sign of a very affluent person when you use a very expensive car like it's just any old car and park it on the street between trucks.
That's right.
The Cullen, of course, is the Rolls-Royce SUV, and I think it retails for at least $440, maybe more. So there you have it. It's an affordable car that we all love. But we're also going to tell you about the F-Type and the last run of the F-Type. Very slick-looking car. So stay tuned to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine with Fred Staab and Les Jackson. We'll be right back.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control. Fred Staab and Les Jackson. We are having a fun chat about what's going on in the automotive world. And there's a lot of new things and technology. And, we've just been kind of covering a lot of it. And this is a sad one, Les. I don't think I've ever been in an F-Type. Have you been in an F-Type?
Only at one of our rallies. It was very nice.
Yeah, I always thought it was the closest thing to an E-Type. That I would see new in my lifetime. Yeah,
reminiscent. And as you know, I have a lot of expertise in E-Types.
Yes. Well, Jaguar is saying goodbye to the F-Type. And it is, they're going to have 150 ZP editions will be created during the final year of the F-Type production in 2024 in Alton blue and crystal gray paint colors. That's color with a U because it's a British company. With contrasting interiors, and they are going to basically mimic the E-Type Project ZP collection from Jaguar Classic. SV Bespoke, I know you love that word. Enhancements include unique interior, wheel finish, hand-painted, racing-style door roundels. What's a roundel? Oh, that's where you put your number, huh?
Right. Right. Well, the roundel is basically the bezel around the... no, actually, they're going to put... Yeah, they're going to have... That must be vinyl. No, it's hand-painted.
I wouldn't want that on my
car. Why would you want that? I'll do vinyl.
No, I don't want it at all on the car. I just want it to be
I don't want it on there
color.
either.
Yeah.
I'm not racing the thing.
No. These are 575 horsepower supercharged petrol V8 F-Types. And, I would definitely not want the roundel. I would go for the roundel delete. 0 to 60 as little as 3.5 seconds. Pretty
That's
cool.
Quick.
And you can get it in a convertible or a hardtop.
Their last internal combustion type.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
I think they have to bring back the XJ some way in the future and make it look more like the original XJ. That's my thought. If it's electric or not, that doesn't matter to me. But
that's right.
It's so Jaguar. I saw some vintage ones on the streets of London, and it was just nice.
They are a very classy, traditional looking car. They have beautiful wood and leather interiors.
Burl wood.
Really, just a really neat car, and they weren't sports cars, but they were quick.
The F-Type, on the other hand, I tell you what, I saw a lot of them. They were around, and they do look fast when they're sitting there. Just like Aston Martins, there are a lot of Aston Martins around.
Yep.
And they do look like they're going fast when they're sitting there, and that to me is the mark of a good design on a car or a guitar or anything else. It looks good. So we're sorry to see it go. Will there be an electric one? We don't know. What do you think?
I wouldn't be surprised. The British really love sports cars more than we do.
Yeah.
So I think there's always going to be a demand for that.
Yeah. I have to say, I'll tell you, I want to do, like I said, a little bit of a discussion on the UK trip that I took. But one thing that I got to do was stop at Jeremy Clarkson's Diddley Squat Farm Shop on the trip, and it was fun. He wasn't there. He was in Botswana. I believe he was trapped in Botswana shooting an episode of the Grand Tour. But it was fun. No one from the show was there. But it was beautiful. The land was beautiful. And there was a big sign that said something like, "Do not walk on the crops." Like it was. I said Clarkson probably painted this because I could see
Yeah, he
him.
probably did.
And hey, no problem, But his beer was there. They can't sell T-shirts though. I told you I would bring you a T-shirt
Wow.
because it's not made in the area. And
Oh.
someone told me
yeah.
they used to sell you a turnip and give you a free T-shirt to go here. Buy this turnip and I'll give you a free T-shirt. But they haven't done that in a while. But I did get some of his chutney, his spicy chutney, which will be interesting, and some of his bee juice honey. But it was fun, and he has like a little hamburger place in the back behind the shop, and it wasn't too crowded. There were a bunch of UK bikers there that came in as a group, and it was really fun. Nice people. You could get your Jeremy Clarkson Christmas card. I didn't pick those up.
Well, there is a limit.
But yes, everyone goes there thinking that he'll be behind the counter.
Yeah, of course.
And he's not. But he was absent with a good reason. He couldn't get out of Africa.
And it's just not very far from the town there, Chipping Norton.
No,
which is a
very
terrific little town.
Yep, absolutely. And we were all over the Cotswolds, and that was beautiful.
Just fall in love with the place, don't you?
Yeah, you can walk
sure
anywhere.
did.
You can walk anywhere. They have to give you right of ways, so you're walking across farms and within a few feet of a whole bunch of cows. We walked through a herd of cows, which was fun. But you need your wellies. It's very muddy there. I can see why they wear muddy wellies. And the roads are one lane. You're on the left-hand side, and then there's these little cutouts, and along comes a big tractor or some kind of farm equipment. But it was good. And you know what else I saw? A lot of Suzuki Jimneys.
Oh.
Those little kind of tough-looking two-door SUVs.
Right.
And they are very popular. There's somebody at Clarkson's farm had it raised up with a winch on it. It looked pretty cool. So maybe we can do that next week. We'll talk about that stuff on Cruise Control.
That's quite cool.
But also a lot of I saw vintage Ferraris, vintage Aston Martin. Well, not vintage Aston Martin. Vintage Alfa Romeos. There was just quite the collection of interesting vehicles. Out in the countryside, it was a lot of Range Rovers.
Yep. And beautiful, beautiful pastures and planted areas.
And big vistas where you would come up over, you'll be walking, and then all of a sudden there would be a huge vista where you could look out, and very idyllic. And of course, everything's made out of the Cotswold stone. They're like, "What did this just turn into a travel show?" That kind of yellow, gold, mustard gold.
Yes,
stone.
I forget what that plant was. It was like just incredible when we drove through.
And here, bring it back to cars. Henry Ford loved the area so much that he had a Cotswolds cottage with that yellow stone disassembled and brought back to Michigan where it was reassembled. So he liked the area a lot. He was a big camper and liked doing that.
He's super camper.
Yeah. Hey, we appreciate you listening to Cruise Control. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Don't forget to check us out on our Cruise Control radio site and our YouTube site, Cruise Control YouTube site, and more. Time for me to say I'm Fred Staab.
I'm Les Jackson.
We are going to see you down the road.
Bye.